Hey everyone, and welcome to Retro 9000, the show where I play retro games and rank them on a scale from 1 to 9,000. Is that too many points, you may be asking yourself? Maybe, but we're going to do it anyway. I'm going to be rating these games as if they came out today, making minor exceptions for aspects of the game that may have been limited by the hardware of the time. Today, we're reviewing one of my childhood favorites, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 for the Gamecube. The categories we'll be looking at today are story, visuals, sound design, controls, and level design. And I'll be ranking each of those on a scale of 1800, so in total, we wind up with a score of 9,000. Get it? Because it's all got to fit. Okay, cool, let's go. Let me start off by saying that this game surprised me. Sometimes for better, sometimes for worse. This game was one of my absolute favorite games growing up, and honestly, it made me feel like a little edgy as a kid too. I mean, some of the music in the game was not for the faint of heart. I mean, the guy said damn in one of the songs, I'm pretty sure. And that's a bad word. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 is jam-packed with great mechanics, like a diminishing point system to discourage you from just doing the same tricks over and over, tons of fun Easter eggs, and just the fact that it's fun to explore these worlds. I found myself more often than not just skating around the levels and not even trying to accomplish the goals, which to me speaks a lot to the game as a whole. I don't know, this game is super fun to me, and with that, let's dive into the ranking. Let's start off by looking at the story of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, and honestly, there kinda isn't one. As you're skating around, there are these little vignetted levels, and you meet kind of just this quirky cast of characters, some pro skaters, some civilians, and my personal favorite, the Alcatraz tour guide who is trying to speedrun his tours. It's honestly incredible.
First off, I'd like to point out that I hate Ranger Bob. I think he's evil. That being said,
but a game like this, in my opinion, doesn't really need a story. And in fact, I think it's probably better served without one. I don't want cutscenes every 2 minutes telling me how my great Uncle Terry needs a knee replacement, so we need to skateboard to fund it or something like that. I just want to get lost in these fun little worlds and skate for a while. And this game does that perfectly. And the characters that you meet along the way really just help drive home the fact that this game was truly just built for fun. So yeah, definitely lacking a story, but that's not really going to detract too many points for me here. For story, I give it a 1528 out of 1800. Moving on to the visuals of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. Now, this is where I have my little caveat. I'm ranking this game as though it came out today with some small exceptions, and graphics alone are kind of that exception. Because, let's be honest, they were pretty limited by the hardware. So I'm going to be talking much more about the art style and creative direction of the game. The look and feel of this game is overall pretty quote-unquote realistic, or at least it feels like it was aiming to be. Obviously, there are some cartoony aspects of it, but overall, it looks like it was aiming for that realistic look. But I feel like the game devs were smart enough to recognize the limitations of the consoles it was being released for, and I feel like they maybe sort of dumbed down the art a little bit to make sure it looked great on all screens at the time. I really enjoyed the look of the game itself, but the menus to me just feel super dated, probably because they are. And with the amazing detail they put into the typography in the game with tricks, text boxes, etc., I would have hoped for maybe somewhat of a nicer design in the menus themselves, but I can't in all good conscience take too many points away for that, since the main game itself still looks pretty damn great. And honestly, I never once caught myself saying, wow, these graphics suck, or I wish this was better. So for that, I'm giving it a 1534 out of 1800 for visuals. Next up is the sound design. Woo-wee! I loved this. I love the sound design in this. Everything in this game still sounds good today. The thuds when you miss landing a trick, the sound of the board grinding on a rail versus what it sounds like when you're riding on a wall, and the music. Honestly, this game shaped my taste in music more than I would like to probably admit. I've had to turn down the audio for a good chunk of this video just for copyright reasons, but do yourself a favor and go play this game, or at least find the soundtrack, because you have to listen to it. It's so good. I have no notes on the sound design. For me, this is just a prime example of great sound design, and it works just so perfectly for this game. That's an 1800 out of 1800 for this beautiful sounding game. All right, controls. This one's a little tough for me. On one hand, the game controls like a dream. The buttons do exactly what you think they should do. The tricks are insanely fun to pull off, and all things considered, they are pretty responsive. On the other hand, the amount of times I found myself audibly saying what the f*** when an input was dropped or missed, or when the physics in a game just kicked me in a funny direction, it was more than enough times for me to simply call it a fluke. I think overall it's a win in this category for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, but it definitely could have some tweaks made to it to make it feel even better. I will say though, grinds and manuals felt great as far as balancing goes. Every time I fell, it felt like user error and not like the game cheated me, and that rules. 1422 out of 1800. The level design in this game is where it really shines. Loads of hidden areas, tons of fun little Easter eggs to find, and just a really great flow between different spots. I especially love all of the little story beats that play out as part of the level too, like knocking down the giant concrete ball to rescue our boy here from the shark. That's awesome. The levels also do a great job of leading you into fun combos, rails leading into ramps, leading into quarter pipes, all very well laid out. They also found some really fun ways to build in quarter pipes or ramps into everyday structures seamlessly, so it didn't feel like they were just plopped into the world. Absolutely amazing, and I think a shining gold star for this game. I give the level design 1725 out of 1800. That brings our total score for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4 on the Nintendo GameCube to a whopping 8,009 out of 9,000. Our highest scoring Retro 9000 review of all time to date. It's also our first to date, so there's that. If you like this sort of content, please consider subscribing and let me know which game I should, put through the Retro 9000 ringer next, because I really like doing this type of video. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, I will see you beautiful humans next week. Make sure you subscribe and check out that little link that I got there, because we have a Discord channel. Come hang out with a bunch of us geeks over there in Discord. All right. Okay, I'll catch you later. Peace.